All right, give me my um. What the fuck are these searches? These aren't my searches. Are these just what people are searching right now? Medical genius is not someone to what the fuck is that? That's weird. I don't give me some Oblivion music. Give me some Oblivion music and ambiance. Sure. Yo, what's up? What's up, Smelly? How's it going, dog? How's it going, dog? Dude, YouTube is acting up again. It's pissing me off. It's acting up. What's going on? Damn, it's kind of hot in here. I'm not gonna lie. Well, we kind of did Oblivion yesterday. Maybe I'll... What game has a good soundtrack? I'll just do Skyrim, fuck it. Got home from your run, W. W? Dude, it's so hot. All these fucking lights, man, just... I got 1, 2, 3, 4. And the light in the room, that's 5. We all have to make sacrifices. Too damn hot. Alright. What's going on? I would have gone live earlier, but I was playing Counter-Strike. But I was playing Counter-Strike. Yeah, it was a new season of Face It. And they brought Cash back. I'm like, we're back, and we're back, and we're back. And my stats are mediocre as fuck, but that's okay, because we're back. And then they dropped a huge update for Crimson Desert, so I'm like, oh, I gotta check that out real quick. So before you know it, it was like 9:30. I'm like, oh shit. I have to go live. Yeah. No fatties in the movement kept playing in your head over and over. Good. Keep it going. And then once you get to your final form, you'll look back and you'll have contempt for all the fat people too, because you're like, damn, these people really are just kind of a liability. So, yeah. But, damn, I wish I had some Mexican Coke, but I don't. So, yeah, I don't really have, like, I'm not gonna talk about the news today. Fuck the news, who cares? But I will talk about, there was something interesting that came into my, recommended last night after I got offline. I was eating my little Chick-fil-A salad. I did not have pie, so I ate a salad. Because I played some Marathon. I hopped on some Marathon with the boys. Played a little bit. It was going well. We got into one fight where, man, we wiped like the entire lobby, except for one team. It was a great fight. It was honestly a great raid. And there was so much goop on the ground. We're talking gold items. It was, and the last team rolled up to us and killed us. I'm like, damn. Can't even be mad about that one. Can't even be mad about that one. That was a GG. And then the next raid, my teammate decides to throw, and I fucking was this close. I was ready to crash the fuck out. I can, like, I don't mind losing if it's, like, fun, if it's, like, a good game. But when I lose a fight, we 100% should win. That spikes the shit out of my cortisol. Just losing and donating gear to shitters just fucking sends me. Yeah, how was my pie? I didn't eat pie. So, I opted not to eat it. So, but, anyway, so I was watching this video, and I thought this would make, like, good reaction content. I don't know who this guy is. It just popped into my recommended. You aren't crazy. Something isn't right with people nowadays. Hashtag critical thinking. Hashtag philosophy. Hashtag deep thoughts. And we'll see how deep it really is. But I thought it was pretty thought-provoking, and I figured I would piggyback off of the thoughts that he has in this video and talk about that. And then there's like a couple other things too. But yeah. I don't know. I don't really know if there's like a lot of like new stuff outside of that. What did Nick react to? What even is there to talk about in the news? Like, what is Nick's show gonna be about? The Shmooly show?
I have the microphone in front of my mouth. Don't you agree? Okay.
I'm counting down 3, 2, 1, and we're putting on the voice and then the camera. Okay, are you ready?
Hold on. Hi, everybody. Okay, so
Like, this guy is like one... He's just a character, man. There's no way he's not like playing the character.
War all the way up through the Iran war now. We lost 13 soldiers have been killed in the Iran war. I don't know many Americans that do that, but in Israel, everybody does that. Jewish people. More than almost any, the burden you carry to be a moral force, which you are.
Who is watching this, bro? 22 hours ago, 17 likes, 83 comments, immediately ratioed. I don't even, whatever. I think he's honestly playing a caricature for like the more reasonable Jews to beat up on. So that like they can say, look, we can criticize our own. Look, Rabbi Shmooly is a fool. It really feels like that. He's playing the part. Nick comes back and he completely switched teams. Yeah. He's got the kippa on. What the hell?
Comfortable it is, mainly because my feet are able to fit in a natural wide position, and the simple fact that my elbows also have a very natural resting point where I did not have any resting point on the alt workstation until I, tried to rig something. The impression sitting in it for the first time is how way more comfortable it is, mainly because my feet are able to fit in a natural wide position, and the simple fact that my elbows also have a very natural resting point where I did not have any resting point on the alt workstation until I, tried to rig something. The impression sitting in it for the first time is how way more comfortable it is, mainly because my feet.
Honestly, you can't even hate. You can't even hate. I mean, you can hate because he's fat, but that looks kind of sick, actually. Bruh. Can we please just like have the ability to filter out accounts from Africa, South Asia, and like South America? Lazy people always come up with the best things. Efficient is just clever laziness. True. So true. So true. It's down a little bit. But yeah, it is kind of late right now. Ugh. Sext GPT. Damn, bro. The Mandalorian and Grogu. Okay. I have to give them props for training around for Star Wars movie to show entirely style of a Rising commercial.
Remember the buttons I told you never to touch? I'm gonna need you to touch them.
That is kind of true. It does look like a Verizon commercial, doesn't it?
It's next to the fuel differential readout, which is between the pump compression gauge and the primary reserve No! Don't touch the missile battery switch. That's why there's a safety guard on it. Do you see the fuel readout display? Remember I showed you that one? It's on the other side of the manual control surface calibration.
I don't think he knows what he's doing.
That is the Mandalorian and Grogu, Jon Favreau.
Dude. It's just like, this is what Star Wars has become. Just lowest common fucking denominator. Here's a cute little guy doing silly things. Clap, clap everybody, here's the... Dude. It's just like, it's just slop, man. It's not even the Mandalorian, it's the Mandalorian and Grogu now. Because like every Star Wars piece of media throughout like the whole, at least like the whole Disney arc has had some like cute droid or animal sidekick, like, or alien sidekick of some sort. And like every single one. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's so formulaic, it hurts, man. Please. Ugh. Gonna be visiting Chicago this summer. What are the places to avoid? Just look at a... Oh, look, speak of the devil. Literally, the very content I was gonna react to. What years of isolation has done to me. I zoned out in 8th grade and low-key never zoned back in. I've lived more in my head than I've lived in real life. Life has never felt more boring. How the fuck are people getting jobs? You aren't lazy, something isn't right with people now. Or you aren't, that's the one I'm gonna react to. Gen Z has no purpose. If you relate to this, just know you're not alone. There are thousands of people like this, and I wish you nothing but the worst. There are thousands of mind rape chads, and they will be the warlords of the future, so maybe think ahead a few parsecs before disparaging all of them. Well, we'll react to it. Made Star Wars for brownoids now. It's just like... It's just bad, man. It has no creativity, no originality, Star Wars. It's formulaic. Like I just said, insert cute alien, cute droid here that does silly, zany thing. Oh, Grogu. That's so Grogu. You know? So. Ugh. The crockback. Jesus does only to you, not being the likes of the quartering. What? Jesus does only to you, not... Proofread. Please, proofread. Is there a grape scene in the newer Star Wars show? I think so, like in, what was it, Andor season? I didn't watch Andor season 2. But, yeah. What the fuck? In Romania, passengers can pay for a bus ticket by doing 20 squats. Taking a trip to Romania, boys? Anyway. All right. I guess I'll just react to this. Because I don't know, it just popped in my feed, in my recommended page on YouTube, and we'll just see what this is about. Dude, it is so fucking hot. It's insane.
There is a weird shift that has taken place over these past 5 years or so where people are just acting weird, and it's really hard for me to put my finger on what specifically it is that changed, but you can intuitively tell, you can feel it. The average person is so much harder to have a structured conversation with. The average person is starting to act almost as though they're being controlled by something else, right? I don't know if that makes sense, but it's weird because people are, I guess our community, our society in general is more disconnected than ever before. A lot of this has to do with social media. A lot of this has to do with a lack of meaning, but it's like people just don't care anymore. They don't care about you. They even don't even care about themselves. And it's just weird. If you pay attention, if you have deeper levels of consciousness and high awareness of what's going on around you, you've probably sensed this too. And sometimes it makes you feel like you're going crazy. Why are people acting the way that they act? Why are they interested in what they're interested in? Or I guess I should say, not interested in what they're not interested in. You know what I mean?
Have you already seen this guy's stuff? This is like the first video I've stumbled upon. I don't know who this guy really is, but I watched like 4.5 minutes. I'm like, you know, this might make good reaction content. Bro's talking about people not caring anymore, and Mel's over here nodding out. Okay.
It seems like nobody thinks for themselves. I think that's the biggest thing, is whatever that person has seen on Instagram Reels in the past week is pretty much the only thing that they're cognitively able to have a conversation about. And so they're confined to these very strict bounds of like things that they can talk about. If you ask them to come up with a independent thought, or not necessarily an original idea, because I think original ideas are extremely hard to come by nowadays, but if you ask them to have any opinion that's against what is so commonplace and prevalent online or in the culture, it's like they can't do it, and they sort of panic. They don't even know what to do. Right? I've seen this not even just with the younger generation, but also with the older generation. You know, I've told people before, if you want to get a reality check on like genuinely how messed up people are in the head, go to your nearest Walmart and just have an interaction with 5 random people. I'm not kidding you. It's like they have lower sentience. It's really hard to describe the way that I think about it.
Bro just discovered NPCs. Bro just discovered NPCs. You watch 3 vids, he's trash. 5? Bro's talking about people not caring anymore. Oh, I read that already.
But yeah, there's an identity crisis problem. People, they don't even know who they are without external validation. And so they keep on this relentless performance, but that performance has turned off the muscles in their brain that allow them to think for themselves. And it's just like, oh, how can I get as much social validation as possible at every given moment? People are genuinely insane. Personalities are built off of, you know, trends, aesthetics, labels, whatever's popping on IG at the time. It's funny, and if you want like a really easy example for this, look at the song choices that people will choose for their post on Instagram. You will notice like a wave of like, oh, every girl is now posting Don Toliver right now, or like since Coachella is currently happening and Justin Bieber, you know, is headlining and everything, everybody wants to post a Justin Bieber song that was either extremely popular or extremely niche, like nothing in the middle. And it's just funny because as an observer, at least for me, and somebody who's very isolated, I can just sort of look at this from like a outside perspective, and I'm like, huh, this is just so weird. But then again, even myself, to an extent, being a content creator, I have to, in some way, shape, or form, fall into this mold in a effort to, you know, get views and stuff. Like I'm not gonna act like I'm above all that. Like I do that too, but you can sense it. If any of you guys that watch my videos have, you know, grown out of your hometown, or like you graduated high school or college, you start to realize this, where people that you used to be homies with, like good friends with, and that you could actually connect with and have meaningful conversations where you connected, if you get back in touch with them, it seems like you can sort of tell that they lost themselves a little bit. Like they sacrificed.
I think people just get jaded. I think people grow up and they lose that childlike whimsy, you know? Like, yeah, people grow apart. You're not a teenager anymore. You live life, and it's like, you know, is there anything crazy about that?
Who they were for the sake of fitting in with the crowd. And it's just kind of weird, because it's like, okay, so you have one life and you're gonna, you know, sort of waste it pretending to be something that you're not. I don't know. And some of these people are not even aware that they're doing it. They've sort of flipped into survival mode, where it's like, oh, in order to like be liked in my frat or my sorority, I have to establish this set of ideologies. And a lot of times it all happens subconsciously, so they're not even aware, but they're constantly exposed to the same conversations and stuff, and it's so boring. For me, as somebody who's a reader, one thing I've realized specifically with men, it is damn near impossible, I'm telling you, to find another guy that is interested in the stuff that's non-reading related, that is also into reading. So like if I'm into working out, it's really hard for me to find a guy that's into working out that also likes to read and stuff like that. And so what I'm just realizing is there are maybe, let's say, like 8 archetypes, like 4 for men and 4 for women, that kind of like general archetypes of like where people fit in and how they act. And it's weird, because every time that somebody goes into, for the most part, I shouldn't say every time, but like 90% of the time when you meet somebody and you start to categorize them into one of the archetypes, you're almost always correct. Almost always. It's like these people cannot vary from the mean. It's just like a insatiable unconscious desire to, it's like, oh, I need the validation or whatever. But it's also beyond that. I mean, between AI, between content being so easily digestible, people cannot have, they can't formulate like real opinions or conversations, that they can't think for themselves. And so they kind of become like dependent. And sometimes if you ever hang out with these people, you'll realize very quickly that they seriously cannot problem solve in real time. Like very small everyday issues that you'll experience just by going out or like doing things with your life, they feel a need to, it's almost like they either will let anything happen to them and just like roll with the punches, or they're dependent on AI, on another person. There's so many,
I just feel like he's just now realizing that most people are just NPCs. You know, I like, yeah, man, most people are fucking hopeless and kind of retarded. I don't know. I feel like if you're like slightly above the average IQ, like let's say 1.5 standard deviations above the average IQ, at some point in your life, maybe for me it was like middle school, you kind of realize most people are just not there. It's weird that he's kind of, I guess he's coming to this realization now, presumably in his 20s. You know, it's, I don't know, like what is necessarily profound about this? There is an IQ distribution, and the average IQ is pretty unimpressive. And people around the average IQ are very unaware of their surroundings, of their circumstances. And it's not that like people, you know, all of a sudden lost their ability to critically think. I think they never really had it to begin with, for the most part. It's just now attention spans are worse because of all the dopamine hits you're getting. Things like social media. I don't know, like this is like, well, what is really profound about this?
I can't even tell you how many people my age are still like fully dependent upon their parents to like give them any sort of advice on anything, like finances, dating, ideologies, religion, everything. Like there are 22-year-olds, that's my age, who legitimately need that structure still to like a very high degree, where it's like they're almost babying them, even though they're an adult. It's really weird. And this shift, like I said, it's really happened in the past 5 years. And I think it has to do with, you know, everybody's just on their phone constantly. You go out in public, everybody has their head down, and everything has to, as time goes on, everything needs to be more and more digestible. And it's exhausting. It's relentless, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know, but yeah, here's another thing, people overreact. It's like you're either on two ends of the spectrum. It's either a person is completely disinterested, numb, they're not aware of what's going on and they don't care at all, kind of like a homeless person almost. And not throwing shade at homeless people, but I think you know what I mean. They're not very reactionary. And then the other end where it's like very anxious, very uptight, everything needs to go right, and if it doesn't, then it's the end of the world. And this is, it's just so bizarre, it's so weird. But yeah, that's what I've noticed. If you ask somebody their opinion on something too, sometimes I don't even know if it's that they don't have a more niche opinion on something, but it's that they're afraid of what's going to happen if they don't because of cancel culture and everything. Like, people are just scared. And so we just create a bunch of robots. And yeah, I mean, I know I've talked about 1984 on my channel, but I think Brave New World by Aldous Huxley is a more realistic reality. It's more realistic for what...
I mean, yeah, like, if that's like regular high school reading, 1984, Fahrenheit 451, Brave New World, I don't think, like, the comparison is, like, necessarily incorrect, but it's like we've heard this a million times. You know, 1984 is fiction, not non-fiction, you know, that kind of thing. And look, I don't want to be like hypercritical of people making observations. I'm kind of tired of people just being like, I don't know. A lot of people, their only fucking contribution to the conversation is like ridicule. You know? Like, I see shit like this that's just like, you are not smart. Like, you are not as smart as you think you are. If you relate to this, just know you're not alone, and there are thousands of people just like this, and I wish you nothing but the worst. The fuck is wrong with you, man? Yeah, this guy's probably a normie, a self-aware normie, maybe a 118 IQ or something. You know, maybe a little unaware that I guess his conclusions are not as novel as he thinks. But I don't know, like, why are people just, they're so negative all the time. Some people are just negative all the time. And this guy seems kind of lethargic and negative. But I don't know. I just, if there's anything that's really starting to irk me more, it's like, why, you know, it's just this sort of like, again, this kind of sardonic, sarcastic, above it all attitude a lot of people seem to have in lieu of having any novel or insightful take. I wanted to react to this, not because I think this guy is like trash or his take is trash. I watched about 5 minutes and I'm like, okay, I think this is somewhat incomplete, and I wanted to build off of it and maybe explain some of the things he might be picking up on, because normies, you know, they can pick up on vibes, they can pick up on the emotions, they can pick up on the sentiment, but they often struggle to really articulate what's going on. And I don't know, like, and so I thought it would be a good opportunity to maybe build on some of the things that he's talking about. But everyone just this guy's trash. It's like, well, okay. Well, we're going to react to it anyway.
What will happen in our society if you're unfamiliar. So 1984 by George Orwell takes the approach of Big Brother, which is the government, is like watching down on people, and so they have to act a certain way because it's highly monitored and everything they're doing is being tracked. Brave New World is more like, oh, there's going to be so many pleasures and you're not even going to want to revolt because you're just going to be so, like, in the actual book, they take drugs that make them feel good and then they don't have a desire to revolt, and they're constantly sedated by these drugs, and, you know, it's dopamine and comfort, and because that they don't leave. I think we're actually, our world is closer towards, although it definitely has high surveillance, everything you're doing is being tracked, especially online, but people, it's the bread and the circus, right? If they're entertained, if they just get like their basic needs, if they can work a shitty job, if they can go home at night and watch a Netflix series, you know what I mean? And so
I almost feel like the more interesting element of Brave New World is how people have been like genetically engineered to fit a certain caste in society. I think that is maybe the more interesting element to this.
They do that over and over again. Then they just sort of become this blob of a human that doesn't have any thoughts and kind of just exists where there's no motivation, and it's hard. I don't know if I'm the only one that's noticed this, but yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Why do I feel compelled to talk about this? I guess it's just like, look, I don't think he's entirely wrong, all right, when he talks about these developments. I do think there is spiritual rot in this country. I do think people are aimless, objectiveless. They have nothing is really grounding them. And I think that's one of the reasons why there is a resurgence in, like, religion, for example. And I think that normies might struggle to articulate exactly what this is, but they feel it. They feel there's like a darkness, a dark cloud covering our society. I think anybody could identify that. And that's, so it's like nothing is necessarily really novel about that take. I think one of the best, I guess, speeches that I think really had an impression on me, and when did I first hear it? Sometime in high school, was David Foster Wallace's commencement speech called "This Is Water," and I think it really, I think it does a good job encapsulating kind of how most people go through life, their day to day, and they are just blissfully unaware. Maybe I'll play it. Is it real? It's not. Is it 20? I just want the shorter version, I guess.
There are these two young fish swimming along, and they happen to meet an older fish swimming the other way, who nods at them and says, "Morning, boys. How's the water?" And the two young fish swim on for a bit, and then eventually one of them looks over at the other and goes, "What the hell is water?" The point of the fish story is merely that the most obvious, important realities are often the ones that are hardest to see and talk about. Stated as an English sentence, of course, this is just a banal platitude. But the fact is that in the day-to-day trenches of adult existence, banal platitudes can have a life or death importance. The plain fact is that you graduating seniors do not yet have any clue what day in, day out really means. There happen to be whole, large parts of adult American life that nobody talks about in commencement speeches. One such part involves boredom, routine, and petty frustration. The parents and older folks here will know all too well what I'm talking about. By way of example, let's say it's an average adult day, and you get up in the morning, go to your challenging white-collar college graduate job.
It's like literally, okay, I guess I'll save us the 9 minutes. It's like literally, you know, there's a world around you and there are other people around you and they have their own shit going on. And you ought to be aware that you exist in a medium. You know, that, as he alluded to in the beginning, two fish are swimming in water. And one fish asks the other fish, "How's the water today?" And the other fish responds, "What's water?" And that's a good way to describe just how sort of blissfully unaware people are of their surroundings, of the world around them. The very medium of which they're immersed in and how it affects them. And so this is not just like sophistry. This is not just like, it's like obvious. It's obvious, but oftentimes the most obvious things get overlooked. And the normie is typically unaware of these things. They're not conscious, really. And I think that this other guy, for the first time maybe in his adult life, you know, he realizes this. And he puts sort of two and two together. Fish have sex in water. True. So, I guess like, and I've said this before, the final red pill is not that whatever you're thinking, whatever conspiracy theory, whatever, aliens, you know, Anunnaki. It's just that people are not very smart. They're just not. And I think a lot of people also, on top of that, they vastly overestimate their own intelligence. You know, the whole Dunning-Kruger curve. And oftentimes the most intelligent people, because, you know, once you sort of pass a certain threshold in IQ or in knowledge or expertise, you become aware. You become self-aware. You become aware of your surroundings. And you become aware not just of what you know, but what you don't know. And that can sort of challenge your confidence. And so it's often why the most arrogant people are also very like uneducated or dumb. You know, some of the people that speak with the most confidence on things are often like so incredibly wrong. And you could see it. Like, I can just pull it up. I mean, I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Is this really as high as... here we go. You know, in terms of competence or knowledge or IQ, confidence. So you learn a little bit about something and your confidence is super high, and obviously you learn more and you're like, oh shit, I don't know anything. And then it's this long procedural grind back up to a place of confidence again as you learn more about something. And it's not like, you know, some people never get past here, some people never get past here. But, you know, it's pretty apt. Everybody's seen this before. But it's also, it's not just like social media is dehumanizing us. Like, that's not, like, social media is just like part of the problem, you know? It's just part of the problem. And obviously there's like a spiritual rot in the country when, you know, what are people consuming? You know, people, like, what are people watching? What are people consuming? What are people filling their heads with? You know? A lot of people that don't believe in God or don't want to believe in God. Okay, then what is all of this for? You know? You're bombarded with, like, all of this depressing news or just decadence and degeneracy. And again, it's like trite. This is not new. It's like if you have no I would say, like, moral compass, if there's nothing that grounds you, if there's no real purpose of life that exists beyond what life is, beyond the material, then your whole world is the material. And so people, and again, we've seen this a million times, the people who pursue the material, what's at the end of that? Nothing. They get everything they want. How many people do you see that get everything they want? They have the career, they have the hot wife, they have the money, and they're a fucking wreck, you know? They're depressed, they're anxious. So clearly, like, that's not the end all be all. And we've seen this a million times before. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. How many, you could go watch, you know, whatever, Good Will Hunting. You could go watch, like, fucking Click with Adam Sandler, and that's the, like, there's some kernel of that as part of the, like, theme of the story. You know, so it's not new. You know, money doesn't buy happiness or whatever. But it's I guess it's deeper than that. It's deeper than what this guy is, like, really summarizing. But it's not really more complicated. It's deeper, but it's not that complicated. And, you know, people they're looking at, like, part of the problem or symptoms of the problem. And part of it too, it's like, look, man, yeah, life is suffering. Life kind of sucks. There's an inevitability of death. And before you die, there's going to be a lot of hardship, you know? And that's not to say it's all doom and gloom, but, you know, it's like some problems you can't solve. Some problems that were things we consider problems are actually features, you know? They're just a part of life. They're inextricable from your human experience. So, yeah, I don't know. So he's not, like, totally wrong, obviously, that people are pretty spiritually crushed right now. But it's also like, you know, just snap out of it. Literally, just snap out of it. Like, it's not... Yeah, we know about these problems. We've known about these problems, these symptoms, these trends for years. For like 20 years, we've known about social media and we're all disconnected from one another. Everybody's on their damn phone. It's like, let's talk about solutions. Let's talk about, like, why that is exactly. And again, otherwise the conversation just feels small and it's very limited in scope, and there's nothing really new. We've dissected the problem so many times before. We've heard the same, you know, spiel, the same analysis a million times before. And the solution is, like, not complicated. It's not tough to wrap your head around, but it's like, otherwise, like, if you can't think ahead, if you can't, imagine, a solution or a different world, what that would look like, how we get there, how smart are you really? How much can you really think abstractly if all you can do is break down the tangible, break down what we can see and experience, versus people who have a vision, a visionary. That takes more from somebody. What is demanded of you, it's harder to do, actually, to envision a different world, hopefully a better world than the one that you are given. It takes a higher intellect to do that. And so any midwit can tell you what the problems of society are, or maybe the symptoms of the problem, maybe not the root cause. But how we fix society, it's like, unless somebody tells some of these people how we do it, many of them will just struggle to figure it out. And so what happens is they fucking black pill. They just black pill because, like, they can't envision a better world. They can't envision a solution or how we're going to get there. All they can see is what is immediately affecting them. And so they black pill. And that's that. And again, this is the only video I've seen from this guy, but I guess this is like, seems to be his content. It's having a crush is a waste of time. How to build delusional self-belief. I don't know. And again, I don't. Maybe I'm giving him an unfair rap. Like how I brainwashed myself into believing anything is possible. I don't know. I don't want to be like too harsh on the guy, because I think everybody has been everybody's on a certain arc, and I'd be lying if I said, like, look, we've all been there. We've all been in the black pill, era, or black pill arc. And then you just kind of snap out of it. Or you should snap out of it. It's just like, actually, you know what? Things are pretty great in a lot of ways. Things could always be worse. And you know what? In many ways, things have always been really shit. So it's like, that's just kind of the norm, It's the same thing with, like, sorry, my nose is itchy. But it's the same thing with, like, people who are saying, like, the demographics are cooked in the country. It's so over. It's like, it's not fucking over, man. Then roll over and die, Like, yeah, you're gonna die someday, dude. Like, you can have an existential crisis about it. It doesn't matter how you die, it matters how you live. And so really, it's best if you don't live for yourself. And all you can really do, because we just established that living for the material is fruitless at the end of the day, because ultimately everything withers, decays, and disappears, ashes to ashes. From ashes it came to dust. I'm butchering it, but you get the point. Everything will return to dust. And so really all you can do is try to live by a moral code. And that's why God doesn't come down and give everybody $1 trillion fucking dollars, because, like, that's not gonna do anything for you, really. So, good thing I retard Max. Do you like fish sticks? Con man? Is this guy a con man? You think he's just grifting? Again, I don't know anything about him, but he popped into my recommended, and it seems like he's popping into other people's recommended. I don't know what his deal is, but it's never really a good thing. I will attack this. It's never really a good thing when somebody puts, like, hashtag deep thoughts, hashtag philosophy, hashtag critical thinking. Because, I don't know, like, I just feel that's very remedial. It's like, either you sort of realized the NPC dilemma, like, in middle school. That's when, I remember, and I know I'm gonna sound like an arrogant prick right now, but I remember, like, one of the things they had us fill out was, like, this little cartoon where it's like a big tree, and there are people climbing the tree. And you're supposed to fill out, like, where exactly you feel like you are in the tree. And some people, they're just like, they're halfway up the tree. There's some people are struggling, they're dangling. Some people are falling off the tree. Some people are at the top of the tree with their friends. Other people are at the top of the tree alone. Some people are just like face down in the dirt, you know. And it was sort of at that point, you know, and it's like that lyric from Strawberry Fields. Nobody, I think, is in my tree, but then again, I must be high or low. So sometimes it does feel lonely either at the top or at the bottom because it's hard to relate to people. And I don't know, there's definitely, again, I'm going to sound like an asshole, but there have definitely been times in my life, and again, if you're just kind of more intelligent, where you're going to feel a little lonely. Like you're talking through people and they're talking through you. I read that something like a 15 IQ point differential, you get these moments where you're just talking through people and it's hard to relate. So it's like either if you feel kind of like that, either you're, you know, socially retarded or you are low IQ or high IQ, you know? And for, I think, people that are smart, they probably have that moment in childhood. Probably not in their 20s, though. You know? Money does buy me a Natalie Portman AI robo waifu, and I'll have enough to buy a Nugget one for MGO. True. That sounds like a good time. That sounds like happiness. This is my interaction with boomers. Look at Alex Jones, Cash Pell, and Dice SPLC, and AJ runs back to Trump. Yeah, I haven't been following the SPLC story. I really haven't been paying attention to the news at all in the past few days. So. Uncle Alex has Stockholm Syndrome. The grape wasn't kind to him. This is not about the destination, but the journey. So true, so profound. Beaker hungers for the restoration of hierarchy. The parable of talents, yeah. Yeah, I know it's trite, but like, yeah, we are promoting mediocrities. There's a lot of that going on. Acting like I don't know but nobody, yeah. I'm at the top alone. But no, it is like I don't know. Some people, I always try to like do a reality check. You know, you don't want to believe your own hype and shit. Oh, I'm so profound. I'm such a genius. Nobody understands me. I'm just, you would never get me. You know, you don't want to be like that guy. So it is like, you have to have reality checks, you know? So. 2/3 took the Trump juice. That's what you're working. Yeah. I do think like COVID did one-shot a lot of fucking people. Like it's like a lot of people went down the conspiracy rabbit hole. A lot of people like, it was like what, 2 years of just like total blackpilling for most people, you know? The libtards were like totally schizophrenic about, you know, germs, basic germs and sicknesses, and all the conspiracy tards thought it was, you know, a death shot, depopulation agenda, George Soros, global homo, and all that. So like it did a lot of psychological damage on people. But I do think it's true. Look, a lot of people are checked out, and that's not like a new thing. There's nothing new under the sun. Why did Rome fall? Did it fall because, you know, the barbarians were that much more, you know, strategically sound? I mean, ultimately it came down to like apathy. The Romans just kind of lost the will to power. You know, they were giving all these foreigners all these benefits, and they were recruiting a lot of foreigners in the military. They didn't care that the barbarians were at the gates. They didn't care that their way of life was in danger. And it's like the same thing now. You've got fucking Somalis in Minnesota scamming people, Haitians eating cats and all this. Look at New York City. And people just don't give a shit. A lot of people. They'll hit you with the, why do you care? Like, okay. So it is. It's just, it's the same shit. Yeah, yeah. Whole Dr. Fauci thing and all that. Anyway. What's up, Forge? How's it going, dog? But what are people even saying about this? Yeah, I don't know, man. You just gotta lock in. You just gotta lock in. That's kind of... Yeah, that's kind of apt, isn't it? Just another day here in Silicon Valley. W. PCR test was a debacle. Yeah, true. It tested positive for the common cold. So, anyway.
I love a good melted Swiss cheese and
So true.
roasted
Classic.
mushrooms and caramelized onions on a burger. That is hot stuff. You can get that at a
That is
number
hot
of different
stuff.
places. I've had some good burgers in my time. I love a good melted Swiss cheese and roasted mushrooms and caramelized onions on a burger. That is hot stuff. You can get that at a number of different places. I've had some good burgers
This
in
one
my
doesn't
time.
have the caramelized
I love
onions,
a
it's
good
got red onions.
melted Swiss cheese and roasted mushrooms and caramelized
This one's
onions
got it all.
on a
Mushroom,
burger.
onion, and Swiss.
That is
You
hot
thought
stuff.
about this,
That's
You can
hot
get
stuff
that
right
at
there.
a number of
You
different
can
places.
get this at a number of
I've had
different
some good
places.
burgers in my time. I love
There
a
it
good
is, there it is.
melted Swiss cheese
Swiss
and
cheese,
roasted
roasted
mushrooms and
mushrooms,
caramelized onions on a burger.
That's hot
that is
stuff.
hot stuff.
That's
You
hot
can
stuff.
Get
You
that
get that
at
number
a
of
number of different.
So true. So true. What is this? So true. Yeah, just... Bro, it is so fucking hot in here. I am losing my mind. I am losing my fucking mind. It is so hot in here. Like, holy shit. Holy shit, it's fucking hot. Why is DeSantis trending? Oh, because, yeah, I heard about that. Apparently he wants to be Secretary of War or wants a seat in the Supreme Court. Trying to resurrect his political career. His presidential ambitions. We'll see about that. W Smelly carrying the stream. Without me, the last 3 nights we wouldn't have had nothing. Was it 3 nights? It's just 2. Yeah, it's just 2, right? Ugh. I am, dude. I'm fucking overheating right now. Holy shit, why is it so hot in here, man? I'm fucking dying. I'm like looking around as if I have anything that's gonna help out. I'm like so tempted to just like turn the lights off. Because they're definitely increasing the average temperature in this room. Turn on a fan. I do have a fan. There's a fan right here. It's kind of shit, actually, this piece of shit. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with this thing, dude? There's like more air coming out the fucking sides than the front. What is wrong with this thing? Whatever. White tea? Yeah, okay. Speaker. Oh, what are we even talking about, dude? What are we even talking about? Oh. The Laura Loomer lost her defamation lawsuit against HBO and Bill Maher over his joke about her having sex with Donald Trump. That's pretty keck. Two Jews fighting each other. Ugh, okay. What are we even doing? The fuck? Oh, this might be interesting. That's what Spencer talking about.
Do those women, like, even looks maxed Clav, is he truly the most handsome man you've ever seen? I don't think so, to be honest. Certainly good looking. Tom Cruise has the goods. Brad Pitt has the goods. Mel Gibson, at least back in the day, these are all my generation movie stars. They had the goods. I mean, no homo, these men are damn handsome. And they're charismatic. It's hard not to like them when they're on screen.
Hassan Piker, certainly not.
What?
Hassan Piker, certainly not, but yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. But...
Dude, who likes Hassan Piker, man?
They have the goods, and there's like
it's
a direct...
crazy. He's like so unlikable, man. He's like always angry. He's always in a bad mood. He's always super critical. I am just like... it's like, what? I don't even like seeing that from our side. I just don't like seeing people that just want to tear everybody down all the time. Nothing nice to say. Always critical. I'm literally repeating myself from like 30 minutes ago. You know? I don't know. I'm just kind of over that whole thing. I say it. I mean, we all do it from time to time. But... I don't know. I look at somebody like Hassan. He's just like a like hit of negative charisma, you know. Who genuinely likes watching Hassan? He's never in a good mood. Never not funny. His jokes are always like, you know, kind of like bad natured, you know. Rare. When is he self-deprecating even? Does he ever laugh at himself? Would you rather do it with a guy or Loomer? It would have to be Loomer. I'll just, you know, get the fucking paper bag and get it over with, you know? Just get it over with. What's up, SSB? How's it going? How's it going, dog?
Attraction to them. You know, women want them and men want to be them. There's a direct attraction.
Did I get a strike?
I'm not.
Yeah, I did actually yesterday for playing that clip of the Strokes. I trimmed it out, so it should be back up, I hope. But, yeah.
Saying he's not
can't have fucking shit, man.
Handsome, but it's like the social proof. Women go there and they are themselves performing their own desire. I don't think they have an actual desire. I think they want
they can stroke this dick. That's what they can do.
Themselves as the type of woman who is like that, and I just think that that's happening. You can't take away the streaming camera from that fantasy. You know, there's like a difference, and I don't know if you've ever had this fantasy yourselves, but I guess this is another way of describing what I'm getting at, is that self-awareness of the fantasy, a dream within a dream. Like it's one thing to have a fantasy of being like, and this is a male fantasy, of like a knight in shining armor and you go rescue a princess or something like that. It's one thing to have that fantasy, which is itself enveloped in film and books and pictures, things you've seen. It's already sort of enveloped. It's not the real fantasy. The real fantasy is pure lust, but this one is articulated in a sort of scene. But it's another thing to like imagine yourself in a movie. You know, like you are the actor in a movie about the Middle Ages. You've already added another layer of self-awareness to the whole scene. Or it's one thing to fantasize about fucking a porn star, but it's another thing to fantasize about being in a pornography film. So you've already the camera itself is kind of the super ego. It's an awareness of the fact that it's not really real.
Interesting. What the fuck? Okay. All right. That's. And on the other spectrum of human intellect, and on the other, this black man may offer a insightful rebuttal. This is how they were making the Groypets teas. Not fat anymore. You know, he's got this going on, but whatever. Dude, what the fuck is this animation? Dude. Hey, M-Goat! Yo, M-Goat! Bro.
Are you ready, stepsis?
Bro, okay. What the fuck is wrong with the timeline, bro? What the fuck is going on with the timeline, man? What are we doing? What are we talking about? What are we fucking talking about? What are we fucking talking about? Oh shit. What are we doing, dude? What are we fucking doing, man? Plato was spitting. Plato was spitting. Plato was spitting. Serbian Tinder?
sometimes the deliverables may contain assets. And so I want us to kind of understand what this scope deliverable asset kind of tree is, because and sometimes the deliverables may contain assets.
Real.
It's like, oh, Stugo's going to third world countries. Can I film for a second? Are you kidding me?
And so,
you know, you look at shit like this and it's like, yeah, who would want to do that for fucking 30 years, man? You know, you kind of get why a lot of Gen Z are just checking out. What the fuck?
Hey, wake up. Hey, T, this guy's trying to sleep. He's having a bad dream. You hear what I said? He's having a bad dream.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Ah.
The bottom line is, don't start no shit, then there won't be no shit. Don't start no shit, then there won't be no shit.
That's facts. That's facts. Not a lie was told.
The bottom line is...
That's crazy. So yeah, they're filming the Elden Ring movie. I really hope it's not dog shit. That's the Dung Eater. That character just like rapes everything he touches. He like defiles people's corpses and rapes them. So he's like a groiper. He's like a IRL groiper in the universe, you know?
Worked very hard on it. Everybody was legal. They put us in this park. We overfilled the park. We're almost finished.
Okay.
But we did this rally. We're almost finished.
Okay.
But we did.
Okay, that's interesting. David Duke, big fan of Alexander Dugin. I don't know much about David Duke. He's obviously before my time. Did David Duke really live in Russia for a period? Once again, man, you know, the plot thickens. There is, if this is true, isn't that a little, you know, scary? The Russia connection to all this fake right-wing, all these fake right-wing dissidents. It'll be shit. I hope it's not shit. He has an expose on clavicular. Who has an expose on clavicular? It's a double embargo, no oil, no Mexican show. True. And whole Southern Levity Paw Center thing came out of left field. Richard Spencer's ex-wife helped get Dugin's works published. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why Spencer is so anti-Russia now. Because he recognizes to some degree he was probably instrumentalized by Russian interference. You know? Same thing with Ron Unz. Same thing with oh shit, what's his name? Totally blanking. Andrew Anglin. Kind of weird, man. And now David Duke, it's weird. You know, foreign interference, man. It's all over. This is an interesting one. Duke has controlled opposition, in your opinion. E. Michael Jones went to conference with Dugan in Iran. I didn't know that either. Like, E. Michael Jones had that weird crash out on Nick for, like, no fucking reason. That would kind of explain it, huh? Similar story with Ron Owens, why Ron Owens was crashing out on Nick as well. So if they're all connected with Dugan, the plot thickens. Kevin Robertson had a meeting with Larry Cole in Boston, kind of sus. Steve Bannon also met with Dugan in Rome a couple of times. All these people meeting with Alexander Dugan. The political brain behind Putin. That's weird, man. That's weird.
Steve Swan sent $10. You criticized David Duke for being in the Ku Klux Klan many decades ago. Duke told Jake Shields that when he was in the Klan, it was not a cohesive national group. It was many disparate groups scattered around America. He said when some in his group began fomenting violence, he quit. No violence.
Yeah, see, this is why you're not as successful as me. This is why you're sending me super chats telling me to go to your website and not the other way around. And I don't mean to be a dick about it, but look, that's just the truth. If you're coming on this show and telling me, hey, I know David Duke was the Grand Wizard of the KKK, but you know, but that time the KKK was different, and when they did violence, he quit. Like, if you think that's like a viable argument for normal people, like that just goes to show you don't know what it takes. And I'm just not going to take advice from people that are not getting the message out, because you're probably not getting the message out for that reason. You know, you criticize him for being the Grand Wizard of the KKK, but did you know that he quit the KKK when he learned there was violence? I don't know. I think the KKK was violent before the 70s, though. Am I wrong about that? I'm pretty sure that was the case. Either way, rehabilitating the Ku Klux Klan is not really my mission. You know, the KKK is against Catholics. They're against Italians. They're from the South. So, you know, I'm not in the KKK. I have no reason to defend the KKK. I don't think that is even really a good idea. I don't think that's viable or pragmatic. And we're going to do that to rehabilitate this. But look, I'm not, it's not a criticism. It's a reality. It's just sort of an inconvenient thing. I don't know that rehabilitating him is, you know, the most necessary thing in the world. So, and I didn't appreciate that he showed up to my event. I made it clear I didn't want him there. You know, he tried to buy a ticket. We didn't let him buy a ticket because I knew the headline would be David Duke goes to Nick Fuentes' event, and I didn't want that. And he showed up anyway, and that was very rude. And, you know, so that I was kind of agnostic, but after that, it's like, okay, so what's the game here? Because him showing up allowed them to say, David Duke and Nick Fuentes, because what do they say about me? You're this generation's David Duke. And then it's not a compliment, so. Anyway. Happy Immaculate Conception Day here in our Advent period.
Bannon has described himself as a fan of Dugan's writing, and Dugan has previously referred to Bannon as an important figure in the American anti-globalist movement. Still watching that slop Euphoria? Sweet Bitter is a better watch. I don't know what Sweet Bitter is. I haven't watched any more. but I probably will at some point. I heard people say Dugin is more influential and revered in Western circles. He doesn't have as much influence on the Kremlin as much as Westerners think. Look, regardless, he is tied to that in some capacity. He is a foreign political operative. You know, what his, real intentions are, somewhat opaque, but it's probably not in our interests. Ella Purnell is the main character in that show. She looks weird, dude. She looks fucking weird. She looks like a bug. Nick said Bannon was supposed to bring the Groypers into a youth wing for Trump. But Nick and Bannon naturally had a falling out. Yeah, it's certainly very suspicious. And it's like, you would think at this point, what does Bannon really have to lose? I don't know, man. It's just it's Nick is the litmus test, man. If you're not on sides, if you're not pro Nick, if you're not pro AF, then you are really not on sides. So that's simple. Yeah, she's kind of odd looking. It's a show from 2018 2019. Yeah. Yeah, we reacted to this yesterday. Bullshit. It's bullshit. Vivek Raman, honestly, it just feels like is he just not like rage baiting us? It honestly just feels like he's just rage baiting us at this point. You can travel to Italy, but you'll never be Italian, French, German, same thing, China, Japan. But America is different. Really? Is that so? I don't think so, buddy. I don't fucking think so. I don't think so. Like, did he really think he was spitting here? This is what makes America awesome. It's not true. It's the same for America as well. This guy sucks so much, man. He sucks so much. It's just like, there's no way this isn't rage bait, man. No fucking way this isn't rage bait. Like, surely. What is a sugar daddy scandal? What's going on in this administration? I don't know. What are you talking about? You think Ramaswamy is throwing the race to Amy Acton? I don't think he's throwing. Why would he throw the race? What, you think like they're in cahoots and he'll suck up all the right-wing votes, all the right-wing energy so Amy Acton could win? No, I don't think so. He's got moneyed interests behind him like Palmer, Lockyer, Vanderbilt, and Teal. So, and JD Vance, like, no, I don't think he's throwing intentionally. Vivek got his money through fraud. Yes. Yes, he did. He should be in, like, a CIA black site right now, getting, like, fucking waterboarded for what he did. For, like, the rest of his fucking life. That's really what he deserves. He's just, like, the most disgusting piece of shit, dude. Not only did he scam Americans, he, like, scammed... Like, he knew his... medicine, his experimental medicine that was in the testing phase didn't work for shit. Got his mom to do another phase 2 clinical trial. It suddenly passes, pumps up the stock of Axovant, goes on with Jim Cramer, talks about how promising it is. Phase 3 clinical trials are right around the corner, and then we can push it to market. And then he rug pulls at the last second right before the results come out. And of course, like, not only did it have like no effect on Alzheimer's, it actually had like a slightly negative correlate. So it was like slightly negatively correlated with treating Alzheimer's. Total bullshit. And he made hundreds of millions of dollars off of that. His whole family did. So like literally he scammed Americans. Like, and if you know, like, think about who he was scamming. Like the Americans that are sitting there watching their loved ones lose themselves over time. And like, I remember when my grandma was going and she couldn't recognize me anymore, like how rough that was for my family. Those are the fucking people he was scamming. Those are the people he gave false hope to steal their money. It's absolutely fucking disgusting. And he should be in like, in fucking Gitmo. Him and his whole fucked up, disgusting family. So. Some chick from the DHS was outed as a sugar baby. I mean, is it real news, or is it just like another case of like this administration is just incompetent and filled with bozos? Kramer had a rare W and called out Vivek's scam. W Jim Kramer. Crashes out on Andrew Wilson.
So if you can go and you can be drafted, you can be sent off to war, right? And women can't, but they can vote to send you off to war. How is that not something which fundamentally needs?
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna just get totally nasty. Andrew, you're a fucking faggot. You are a faggot for even uttering that statement. Do you know what the good thing about war is? Do you know what the good thing about war is?
Wait, can we get like another 10 seconds before I feel like there's a little bit of missing context here.
Women vote you into war. It's that you get to just go.
Vivek and PBD are third world scammers. True. Julia Varvaro is the girl's name, 29 years old. Thought news like TMZ type, more or less. Gotcha.
Kick ass. It is fucking awesome. War is good. It is badass. It is the fucking greatest thing ever. They put a rifle in your hands and say, go for it, dude. Go for it. That's what's worth living if you can't feel alive? What is more being alive than like death is in the air? You go mano a mano against another man and you win, and then you go and like take his land. That's the most fucking insanely trad, badass thing you could ever imagine. That's what war is about. It's not women sending us to do it. It's that we do it because it's fucking cool.
Yeah, that's pretty true. And I'm not like a libtard or anything, but I don't know. I think, not to be that guy, but, and I agree, like, war is pretty awesome in it, like, by definition, like, awesome, awe-inspiring, and it's cool. You see the videos of guys, blowing shit up, and yeah, like, there's something in us, and maybe it's twisted, but there's definitely something in us that is drawn to that. But at the same time, it's like, well, and I know, global homo and all that, but did Richard Spencer serve? Would he serve? I mean, he can't anymore. It's easy to say, like, when you're not in it, It's easy to say, like, when you're not getting blown up, when it's not you, when you're not watching your friends get blown to bits and shit, because, the enemy can shoot back. So it's like great for like everybody that either isn't involved or gets to see the fruits of the war, but it kind of sucks for a lot of people involved. I know that's not like a hot take or anything, but you know, I do think, yeah, I don't disagree with Richard here that I think war is, you know, kind of a fundamental aspect of politics and our existence. I think as long as we're around, there will be war, because there will be conflict as long as there are two people on the planet with limited resources. So that's not going anywhere. It's like, it's a part of our existence. But, you know, it can be a nasty sort, obviously, and I don't know, something feels a little LARPy sometimes, you know? I don't know. You know what I mean? Sometimes it seems like the people the least equipped or willing to go to war are also the ones that are like the biggest advocates for it. And like women, like famously, female world leaders tend to have a higher likelihood or propensity for war than their male counterparts. So I know that's like not really a hot take or anything, but it feels a little LARPy from Richard. And again, I don't agree with Andrew Wilson here. Like, yeah, who cares about what, you know, women and all that? Like, war is for men. Men engage in warfare, women do not. Women don't understand war, they never will. They don't understand power. But yeah. As long as the woman isn't Luma or Caitlyn Jenner. I used to think Andrew was a decent guy, but he let the mask flip a few times when he was drunk on his Rumble streams. Why? What did he say exactly? What would Mello's perfect world look like? Well, I don't think there is like a perfect world, not to be like but like as close as we can get. It would be a military-focused society. A very martial society in general. One that's industrial. Yeah. Very much so. Military might would be like the forefront. Military parades and ultranationalism would be like, ultranationalism would just be expected, demanded of people. Yeah, like a cult-like devotion to the nation would be demanded. Napoleon's Grand Army had drummer boys, 10 to 12 years old, that were at the front of the column and were often killed. Yeah, thanks. That's a little, you know, gruesome. But yeah.
I'm sorry. This notion that like men, like, oh, they'll just send us off to war. Ooh. Like, you're a fucking faggot in the 90s sense of the word. You're not necessarily gay. That is such just like a lame opinion. It's like, please don't pick me for the football team. Please don't. I could get hurt. No, it's the opposite, you fucking woman. You pussy. You want to get picked for the team. And if you break your arm playing football, that's also fucking cool. What do you not get, you fucking fag? I'm sorry, he is a woman. He's a fucking pussy. The fact that he just uttered that phrase. Women can vote us to war. Oh no.
These bloodthirsty women are gonna send like sniveling, crying Andrew Wilson to the trench while he just wants to be left alone on his like homestead to like milk his cow.
These women are just a bunch of fascists.
These blonde-haired, blue-eyed, like fucking Romans.
Well, it's also like true that, you know, women don't have to fight the wars, you know? So they don't bear the consequences of their decision making. You know, to be charitable towards Andrew Wilson, that seems to be the angle that he's taking. Like, women just shouldn't be able to vote. Maybe we shouldn't have voting in general for most people, but that's another conversation.
Kill for the Imperium.
Do you really want to live? Like, do you really want to live forever? Like, I mean, Give me, this is just such, this is like literally the gayest thing ever uttered. I'm not even exaggerating. That is so gay to think like that.
Empath Chan, daughter of Aurelium's son. That's a tough one, dude. I don't know. I don't know, dude. I don't know, dude. I don't know. That's a tough one. If a draft happens, I can see women being drafted. You don't want women on the front line, man. They're not useful. They're just gonna get blown the fuck up, and like they'll just immediately be combat ineffective. Like that's not really in anybody's interests. Some racist BS about how he and his kind are better than minorities. Huh? What? 304 daughter, Alphabet Mafia son. I don't know, dude. I don't fucking know. Some fathers get both. True. Can you imagine? That's a fucking nightmare. Yeah, Andrew has mentioned he wishes the US was more like Starship Troopers, but he barely graduated high school and he's never seriously considered any sort of service. I seriously considered service until I kind of got disillusioned by high school. You know, it's like, well, yeah, these wars are not in our interests, you know? So like that's kind of a problem, you know? People kind of forget that. Like I was dead set on serving in the military when I was in middle school, but then I'm like, wait a second. This is a load of barnacles. These wars are a load of barnacles. Yeah. And that was a bummer. I was set on the Air Force. I wanted to be like a ranger. Yeah. And then it's like, dude, fuck this. But you know, it's sort of like the same question for like Richard Spencer. I mean, like, did he ever consider serving? I don't know. I know that's like, and I'm not anti-war, you know, I'm pro-military. I'm by no means like a bleeding heart liberal or anything, or anti-war like that. I do think, you know, in general, we should be a little reserved, you know? The whole live by the sword, die by the sword, but yeah, some interventions are totally justified. I said this yesterday, but it's like, yeah, we just took Venezuela, the Venezuelan president out, and that was pretty fucking awesome. And we should just own the world. I'm an imperialist at heart. But, yeah, I don't think we should be warmongering for the sake of it. Like, you know, you look at like, and I guess this is really like the difference between like Richard Spencer and like a Christian. I think if you were to really dissect Richard Spencer's worldview, because he's like this, he like, you know, believes in like Apollo or whatever, and he hates Christianity. Really, what problem would he have with like what Israel is doing? And it's from a certain, you know, perspective, he should admire Israel. And don't get me wrong, from a certain perspective, there are things to admire about what Israel is doing. Obviously not the genocide part, but like, how would you really, you know, like, how could you really object to what the genocide Israel's committing? You know, just bombing innocents and infrastructure, you know, if, you know, it is all about obliterating your enemies. If there is no sort of moral, if there's just no concrete morality to it, like, how could Richard object to it? He would just simply object to it politically, because it's not his people, because it's our enemies that are succeeding in their conquest and not us. And I do think that's immoral. I wish Richard believed in Christ. I mean, yeah, I mean, and this is sort of where, like, the fundamental disagreement comes into light between, like, AF and Richard Spencer. He's not Christian. And I am pro-military. Yeah, I'm not anti-war, but I don't believe we should be warmongering, you know? I think we should have some reservations about going to war. I love the idea of taking people's shit, and I'm under no illusion that other countries wouldn't do the same if they were in our position, but, you know, I also believe in morality, and you shouldn't just kill people just to get them out of your way because it's, like, convenient for you. I don't think that's the way we should be doing things. But again, you could ask Richard the same question. Did you serve in a war? Have you killed anybody? No? Then this is a LARP. You know what I mean? I know maybe this is like, understand I'm not a liberal, but there's a lot of fucking tough guys on the internet, and I question how tough they really are. And if Richard were to be getting shot at, you know, would he really have this warrior mindset anymore? I don't know if he would. That is like one of those things where, you know, all the tough guy, you know, Navy SEALs, DevGru, Delta Force guys, all those guys, they actually at least walk the fucking walk, you know? They actually, like, killed motherfuckers for a living and are, like, the most lethal people on the planet. And like, that's, like, they know what they are. Like, that is their profession. They sign up for it. That's what they live for. You know? And a lot of them will talk about, yeah, it's kind of fucked up too, you know? Like, it does kind of fuck you up. A lot of the toughest guys suffer from severe PTSD. It's almost like spiritually, and again, like, Richard doesn't believe in this shit. It's almost like spiritually, like, these things are kind of not as amazing as they can be from in one perspective. It's not really good for you. There are real costs for this shit, you know? It does have a real toll on people. All the you know, the valor and glory, you know? I feel like that can only be enjoyed by the people that, you know, didn't see the worst that war has to offer. And maybe that's their sacrifice to make, you know? You make that sacrifice for your country to say, okay, I will fight, kill, and maybe die for my country, and even if I'm not physically hurt by it, I'm hurt by the war in some way. I will always carry that war with me, so that my country can prosper, so that my people can prosper. And I think that's true. But I don't think we should, like, you know, downplay or ignore the real cost, the real weight that war has on people. So... Right, a strong military is needed to protect ourselves and our allies in good faith circumstances. Bro, the pagan LARP is going to be a big op. Yeah, true. But it's like, this is kind of touches upon, like, what I was, like, kind of saying earlier. All these, like, internet tough guys, internet, you know, all they do is, like, talk. There's oftentimes no nuance to what they're saying. Because, like, look, and this is the boring stance, but sometimes, yeah, the truth kind of lies somewhere in the middle. War is sometimes necessary. It's sometimes awesome. It's cool. We feel drawn to it in many ways. There's a reason why we love, you know, war movies, war video games. We feel compelled to serve. It's like in our nature. But it's on the flip side of things, it's also a very terrible thing. Maybe the most terrible thing we can experience as a species. And it exists in nature too. And you could say that's like gay shit or whatever, but like Richard never served. He never had to deal with the weight of that. So it's very easy for him to say that. And I think any like real leader understands that. And that's maybe what is so sickening about some of our leaders is like they're so willing to throw away American lives for fucking nothing. You know? Like you look at like the 13 pictures, the 13 Americans that are confirmed deceased, and there's probably a lot more than that, but the ones that the Pentagon confirmed, it's like you look at those pictures and like those are Americans, man. From a certain perspective, maybe the best among us, because they did decide to answer the the call, and you can sort of downplay it and say, well, they're nowadays people aren't really idealistic about their service. It's about getting them to pay for your education or whatever. But the spirit of service, I think, is still there. And those Americans decided to answer that call while everyone else talks about and has an opinion on people who do or don't answer the call. And it's like, so I can never, I will always have a certain amount of respect for people who do choose to do that, even if it's misplaced, even if, maybe they do it for the wrong reasons or reasons I don't agree with, or I think they're maybe not fully aware of what's going on. I regardless, will always have a certain amount of respect for people who decide to do that. I don't know. And so, yeah. And so sometimes I just feel like, I don't know. I guess you just live by the sword. You'll die by the sword. That's where it almost feels like, there's a time to be the bully, and then there's a time to be the big brother, There's a time to, like, be critical and, maybe aggressive or to shame people. And then there's a time to, like, maybe take a step back and first start with, like, empathy. And then give them a little bit of tough love, Like, when boomers say pull yourself up by your bootstraps, that's not entirely wrong. Obviously, it's oversimplifying the problem and they don't understand the problem, but you do kind of have to just pull yourself up by your bootstraps no matter what problem is in front of you. You can't just wallow in, your own whatever, your own problems, your own deficiencies. Obviously, that's all they have to say about the problem, but so, like, when and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier with that YouTube video and stuff. It's like, yeah, I don't think you should sit there and be like, I'm fucked up, everything sucks, and just black pill. But, like, at the same time, it's like, I get it, man. It's like, and this is where, like, I care about my fellow Americans. I care about my generation. I care about my people. As frustrating as I sometimes am with the Goyim, these are my people and I want what's best for them. And so it's more so like, imagine if you had like an older brother, like something like he looks at you like, this fucking guy, he'll give you some shit, but like he'll like try to pull you up, And I think a lot of young men nowadays probably don't have a good father figure or like older brother figure in their life that simultaneously are gonna like push them, but also like that like legitimately care about them and will legitimately give them good advice and not just look at them with like utter contempt. And part of being a man is you just got to deal with whatever hand you're dealt. Nobody's going to give a shit about your problems. You can't expect them to. But that's why every time somebody actually does care about your problems, it's worth its weight in gold as a man. And it's those people in your life, your father, your uncle, your older brother, that will probably have the biggest impact. And looking back are probably the people you're going to be most thankful for. And so if young men just had a little bit more of that, I think that would be good for them. So this whole like flippant attitude towards, men in general, yeah, nobody's going to give a shit about your problems, or rather you can't expect them to, but just a little bit of empathy for your fellow man goes a long way, Life is hard enough. You don't have to pretend to be some fucking tough guy all the time. I guess what I'm trying to say, I'm really all over the place with this, but it's just like, we just don't need this pretense all the time. Nobody's being earnest. Everybody's putting on these fronts. I just think a lot of people are not really down to earth. And I don't know. Maybe I'm being overly sentimental, but I think that's a fair and like even take. Raised to a stick. My ancestors are smiling upon me, Nord. Can you say the same? That group in France wants to send giant bronze statues of Prometheus to the United States. They zoomed in on one of the artisans and he artist. Wait, I didn't read that right. And he's a moo. I don't know what that is. Richard Spencer fell off. He's not relevant anymore. I still think he's a smart guy, and I think he has some good takes, and I value his insight, but you know, ultimately there are some really fundamental disagreements that, like, and I don't want to speak for Nick, but I mean, if you watch any of their discussions, you would know this. There are just some fundamental disagreements between us, Wipers, and Richard Spencer. And to throw a little bit of shade at Richard, that's probably why his movement failed and Nick's is ascendant. You know? Oh, we're pagan tough guys. You're a tough guy, man. You're a fucking tough guy. Okay. Yeah. The LaRouche group has renamed to Promethean Updates and is pushing Trump. I see white identitarian groups using the name Prometheus. Ugh. I'm tired of internet tough guys that offer no solutions other than give you outrage. I said this before, it's just like, what? Everybody just wants to fucking shit on everybody else. Aren't you tired of it? Even you guys! I'm trying to react to this video. This guy's a fucking idiot. And okay, yeah, like, whatever, man. Like, not the most novel takes in the world, but like, come on. Like, I'm trying to make a point here. You know, like, I'm just, I am outraged at being I'm outraged at the outrage. I'm tired of all this outrage. It's outrageous. Aren't you? I said this yesterday. Don't you feel like you've just been emotionally manipulated all the fucking time by rage bait, you know, clickbait, all that stuff, engagement farming? Here's my hot take. This guy's a fucking, I can't even say that on YouTube. Dude, if I went on, it's probably a good thing I'm on YouTube and I can't just like drop slurs all the time. It's probably for my own good. But like, it's like, you know, nobody has any nuanced take. Nobody, it's just all rah, rah, rah. You're a fucking idiot. You're like, you're a soy boy. And look, I do it too from time to time. Sometimes it warrants it. That's the tricky part. Sometimes it's warranted. But I don't know, man. Mello would look good in the Navy dress uniforms. Let's go. German generals don't want to give rifles to Muslims, and not enough Germans are signing up. So they're going with drones and AI. Mello was in his feelings. Oh boy. I'm just like, it's just,
differences, but he seems to think that, yeah, like the bloodthirsty women want to send us to war, and it's like, who do you think votes for war more, actually? I mean, it's men. Men are much more likely to want to do that. I think women are the more risk-averse, less, like, physically violent gender. They're not going to support that as much. They vote for it less, Andrew. Actually, women voting would decrease your likelihood of being sent off to war because there's someone to counter the male vote who's going to be more likely to vote for it.
Yes. War is just the ultimate expression of testosterone. Obviously, I'm being a little facetious and whimsical, like doing this, you know, war is good stuff, but like, yeah, that it is, and you have to get that. When a man gets a scar on his face, he's like, oh, cool. When a woman gets a scar on her face, she's like, "Oh no, I'm less pretty." But like Andrew Wilson, if he gets like a scar on his face, he's like, "Oh no, I'm less pretty." You know, like stop being a fucking pussy, dude. Man up. I mean, seriously, I want to like apply the Force doctrine to this guy. He looks kind of flabby. I'm just saying, like looking at those arms and.
Dude, that clip of him unable to, what he was like struggling to open like a jar or something. Total aura loss.
Like
he's got really skinny arms, but then a big belly.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
And well, this is the bit that.
Oh, Richard's fan. Oh, come on, Richard, come on now.
Nick does on.
Yeah, you're enjoying too many burgers with caramelized onions and Swiss.
You know, Bronze Age mindset.
That's hot stuff. He's been enjoying too much hot stuff recently.
Comes parachuting in. Because and
like
it seems
risking
like
their lives, you know.
Yeah.
Like
literally into a
death-defying
meat grinder.
stunts and things like that, and they're like, no.
Yeah. And the whole Talmudic network, you know, freaks out because it's only, you see, the aggression is only allowed in one way.
Anyway. I was gonna make fun of Richard's voice by reflecting on what you said about always being negative, so I will refrain. I mean, like I said, not everything Richard says there is, he's not entirely wrong. You know, and a lot of it is he's playing it up, but I don't know. It's just exhausting, man. You ever like catch yourself and you're like, you know, I just don't want to be like enraged all the time. Everything is a fucking outrage. You know, man, sometimes it's just not that deep. Sometimes not everything warrants a hot take. Or like an emotional, you know, theatric response. No, they already spotted the black character. Maybe they'll cut that scene out or something. Man, that's crazy. There will never be another AF pack. There will never be another AF pack. Let's read the Crimson Desert update notes. They're fat. They are fat update notes, man. I know Richard Spencer's friend Mark Brahman is even more unpopular, but I like his tangents into mythology. Yeah. Who restored the cross in Lebanon? Was that UN soldiers? Yeah, Italian UN soldiers. I think, right? Yeah. And they destroyed it again. Typical. You know, but that's why it's like, although there are many things I disagree with Richard on, I still value his insight, and I think he's funny and interesting. Huge fucking patch notes, dude. Enormous patch notes. Look at this shit, man. Every week, the game just gets so much better. It's crazy. Goated game. What? Why is Libs of TikTok tweeting this? Israel's massive LGBTQ pride festival in the ruins of Sodom and Gomorrah is also having a family-friendly, demonic as hell. Surprising that Libs of TikTok would criticize Israel in any capacity. But they're only criticizing the gay shit. That is, you know, only the gay shit in Israel. Not all the other stuff.
Ну как ты можешь меня так предавать? Я узнаю, мне звонят, я узнаю, ты в 3 часа ночи где-то был. Заварки, не заварки.
No way.
Какие порядочные люди туда ходят, Чарли, скажи. Это
What?
весь твой аргумент. Сколько мы можем ссориться, понимаешь? Не может быть война постоянно.
No.
Я понимаю, что ты мужчина, но у меня тоже есть чувства. Все, это твой аргумент. Это твой аргумент.
What?
Чарли, так себя люди не ведут.
She did not.
Понимаешь? Не ведут. С тобой очень давно общаемся.
Normal Russian man. Get a Russian girl. Yeah, so she can cut my fucking dick off when I'm sleeping. So she fucking like... Russian women are ruthless, dude. Fucking ruthless. They're the most like cold-hearted women. Shit. The horror stories. Deliberately targeting married men. I heard this story. My dad told me he had this coworker that was like, or some guy he knew that was visiting Russia on for business and had like an affair with some like Russian woman. And that Russian woman like picked up his phone while he was sleeping and like called or texted his wife, said, "Your man is mine now," and just nuked his fucking marriage. I think he remarried the Russian woman, but that's just like crazy. They are on a fucking mission, and they don't give a fuck. Why is she talking to him like that? What do you mean? Because he's invested. He's telling, you know, she's telling him a story. I can imagine them being dull in bed too. I don't know. Get more of an Oriental Russian. Isn't the whole point of getting a Russian is getting like, you know, the Russian ballerina, you know? The whole like Aryan Russian, you know? Yeah, this is like, this guy's hand are all the influencers. You guys are the mosquitoes just taking the rage bait, you know? Every time. Fuck. Wow.
One night, I think I was playing video games or streaming or something, and before I started up to go to bed, I checked my email, and I saw in my email that my credit card had been declined for some subscription, and I said, well, that's weird. I don't think I'm over my limit on my credit card. As far as I know, it's a good credit card. And so I go to my online banking app, and I see that on my checking account, it was $0. And understand, I had something like $500,000 in that checking account just the other day. And so at first I thought, this is a glitch, you know? So I refresh the app, and nothing changes. I close the app, I reopen it, nothing happened, and upon further investigation, I saw there was a legal order placed on my account. I went through my transaction history, and I saw a legal order and subtracted my entire bank balance. Froze both my credit cards, and my entire checking account was frozen, which is where nearly all of my cash was. I called customer service at the bank. I said, where's my money? What's going on? They said, well, we'll get to the bottom of this. They called their legal department. They called me back a few minutes later and they tell me, your account is under review and we could give you no other information. And I was furious. I said, are you kidding me? I had all this money one day and now it's gone. When's it going to be released? Who's doing this? Why is this happening? And they just kept saying the same thing. All we could tell you is your account is under review. And so I called the bank every single day for 2 weeks, multiple times every day for 2 weeks. And finally, after about, I think it must have been 15 or 16 days, she calls me back and she says, Mr. Fuentes, I have some good news for you.
I think we've all heard this a million times. Melo can marry an Asian, it's okay. If I marry an Asian, she's going to be Japanese. There are some decent Russian women, but hard to find outside the fatherland. What, you mean the motherland? I've seen a clip of Charlie Kirk on the news today, and I couldn't get the image of his face swapped over that Japanese girl's body out of my head. I don't even know what we're talking about. What? Alrighty. 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 Alright, boys. It's late. It's late. I'm gonna get out of here. Kind of a weird show today. Kind of a weird stream. That's it? What do you mean that's it? No movie? What do you mean? No movie? What movie? What movie? What are you guys talking about? A movie review? Why did you expect a movie review? Who promised a fucking movie? Who said that? I didn't say that. What? What are you talking about? What? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Did I say next Wednesday? I guess it's Thursday. I thought I said last Wednesday. Which I talked about Euphoria. What? You guys are fucking gaslighting me. I will not be gaslit. I will not be gaslit. What? No, I was gonna talk about Euphoria. Not a movie. Dude, what are we talking about right now? Not gonna crash out. Fine. 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 What? Okay, fine. We'll do a movie review. Friday. How about that? We'll do a movie review Friday. What do you get? Give me some suggestions now. Sound off. What movie should I review? Actual movie. Give me some ideas. Dude, I'm gonna lose it. It's either that or I don't stream at all. It's either that or I never stream again. I just fade into even more obscurity. The boy in striped pajamas. Are we serious right now? Are we serious right now? One battle after another? Never heard of that movie. Blade Runner? Blade Runner could be fun. That's one of my favorite movies. I love Blade Runner. Who doesn't? I could do 2049. Would that be better? I actually do like 2049 more than the original. Is that crazy? Hunger Games. Hunger Games. Hunger Games. Hunger Games. Brother, every day for you, it's the Hunger Games. Alright, I'll do 2049. I'll review 2049. I love that movie. On Friday. Hopefully I don't get... Okay, how am I gonna do it, though? Every time I play a trailer, I get fucking copyrighted. Every time they take down the stream. Only on YouTube, though. Maybe I'll do like a Twitch or Kick exclusive or something. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll funnel you guys over to the other websites. So I can actually show you guys what I'm talking about. You share with the homies. Just take screenshots so we can talk about it. Yeah, you want me to make a fucking PowerPoint presentation too? Is that how we're doing this? Get it the DVD and play it on a TV in the background. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll play it through my fucking speakers into the microphone so you can hear it. I'll play it on my phone and I'll hold the phone up to the camera. How about that? You'll be there. Share the stream in other cool chats. Well, don't self-promote. Nobody likes that. You know, I don't know. Like, don't go to somebody else's stream and say, hey, everybody, check out this other stream. You know, people don't take kindly to that. But by all means, if you want to share the stream. Yeah, big CRTV. What am I, Beardson? Hey, I've got my CRT TV here. Wow, it's just like when I was a kid in the fucking 90s. I'm a dinosaur. Fucking hell. I actually have to figure out how... No, like, seriously, we got to figure out how we're going to do this. Because I'd like to bring movie review back. And YouTube has really been dogging me on this. I can't even play trailers, dude. I play a clip of Coachella and they take the whole fucking thing down. A clip. A 240p clip. They got my ass in 240p. Can I put a filter on it? Oh, like all those like the people that re-upload like entire Family Guy episodes. They reverse the image, they put a filter on, they lower the you know, the octave, they lower the audio like half an octave. They put random effects. How do other movie reviewers do it? I don't even know. Maybe it's because it's a live stream. Honestly, that might be it. It might be because it's a live stream. And I feel like there are different rules because they think you're like re-streaming. I think that might be the case. But I could be wrong. But I know a lot of people have a lot of problems reacting to trailers anyway. Like, I'm fine if it gets demonetized. My channel's not even monetized. Speaking of which, hey, you know, you can always send in a super chat. But, you know, it's low IQ chuds can do movie reviews. It's the fact that I'm doing a live stream. I think that's the problem. It just detects it immediately, and it just takes the whole stream down. Whereas when you upload a video, it processes the whole video, I think, to see if it's transformative or not. And it might detect copyrighted material. but it gives you a pass. It doesn't prevent you from uploading it. Whereas if you live stream, it just blocks your whole stream. It's a conundrum. It's a debacle. Twitch stream it is? Maybe. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe. I don't fucking know, man. But yeah, I'll do 2049 for Friday. You will ask AI? Okay. I'll think about it. But otherwise, I'm not quite sure. Because, you know, YouTube's copyright detection algorithm is like it's good enough to detect if you flip the video, you know? Like, what is this, amateur hour? And it's the audio, too. Shit. You can ask your buddy Chris to put you in touch with someone over there in Palo Alto. Can you ask him to hack into YouTube to put my fucking channel on everyone's homepage? While we're at it, W Community coming together on that to squeeze Speaker. Why am I here? Just to fucking suffer. Just to suffer. He works there on the IT team. W. Chris, help a brother out. Help a brother out. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see what I can do, but like even if I like okay. What I might have to do, okay, let's do a little test run. Let's do a little test run. One of my favorite scenes is the want to go for a ride scene. Okay. What if I'll play in very short snippets, like 5 seconds, and then scrub ahead 5 seconds. Okay. Okay, live streaming is a problem. Yeah, I figured. But that's like the whole point, is that it's live. It's a live review, you know? Like I could... Whole time, July. Okay, don't... Okay, don't fucking dox your fucking friend. Are you trolling me right now? You can't comment now? Really? Wait, you actually can't comment on the stream? Dude. Because it'll be taken down. Okay, yeah, but don't dox him. Don't dox your friend. You might get another strike. Well, let me wait. Is yesterday's stream back up? I think it's back up. Yeah, it should be back up now. Yeah, AI says live stream is a problem, and that's what I figured. Because it's just like auto-detecting any copyrighted content, and just it's overly aggressive. Which is pretty irritating, but... How am I gonna do this? It's like, It is a visual and auditory medium. Yeah, it's up because I trimmed out the segment. I might just have to do it on Kick, honestly, or Twitch. I might just have to do it there. Which I co-stream on both of those, but I might have to like literally just end the stream on YouTube and go from there. Yeah. Which, by the way, you guys should follow me on all the other platforms in case my channel on YouTube gets nuked. You never know. You know how it is. Fuck. This is just so ass. There's like no good way to do it. Yeah. You already follow me on everything? W. Be like Smelly. What's up, George? For cortisol maxing. Yeah, actually, my cortisol is through the fucking roof right now. Like, okay. Let's try this out. If it gets taken down, GN boys. GN, W stream or whatever. 5-second snippets at a time. 4-second snippets.
You wanna go for a ride?
And then we'll just do this. We'll go back up. And we'll go back down. I just love that soundtrack. You hear that? Oh. Dude, I actually, this is such a huge problem. Yeah, I'm just not, because otherwise then I have to just babysit the whole fucking thing. I'm just gonna do it on Kick. I'll start the stream on Friday normally, and then we'll just transition over to Kick, so at least I can play some clips. Like Kick and Twitch, whichever you prefer. What about just using the pics on IMDb? So much of, but you're trying to describe like certain things about, like, this is my favorite scene probably in the whole film. One of them. Everything just comes together, the composition, the color, just look at the way the ship comes in from the fog, the music. It's awe-inspiring. It's bombastic. It's mysterious. It's foreboding. You're just not going to get that unless you hear it and you see it. So, yeah. So, yeah. We'll just end the stream on YouTube on Friday, and then we'll just continue on Twitch and Kick. And go from there. Which you guys should be following me on those platforms anyway. So, what else? Yeah. That's the plan. Yeah, AI doesn't offer a solution for live streaming. Typical. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. Honestly, fucking high cortisol stream. Not gonna lie, cortisol was at dangerous levels today. Yikes. Thanks for hanging out. Don't forget to hit the like button. Not all of you guys are hitting the damn like button, okay? Hit the like button. Holy shit. Leave a comment. Movie suggestions. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share the stream, share the channel with people you think would enjoy it. I need to grow this channel, man. What am I doing? Existential crisis. Yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out. Inception or Blade Runner? We'll do Blade Runner 2049 Friday. Lock it in. Blade Runner 2049 for Friday. We can do Inception maybe the weekend, like whenever the next, if Friday goes on without a hitch, then we will plan the next movie review. OG Blade Runner is a good watch. Another one of my favorites, but I like 2049 more actually. Anyway, GN boys, take it easy. Good night and God bless.